In this episode, Booth 42 is visited by an astral projectionist named Suhlayuh Merikantha.
She's from the planet Plarb, located in the cul-de-sac of the universe.
So roll up your towel into a pillow, lean back, and
Prepare to learn about a world with no expectations.
Shut up and sit down.
And welcome back to Millyways, Booth 42. But most importantly, here we are with the Hitchhikers and Appetizers podcast. I am Horatio Zinn, and with me, as always, is someone I cannot find the words to describe what this being means to me. So I will instead use a term I'd like to think of as co-host. In any event, here he is. Say your name.
Trellis. Gardeen. Thank you for that intro, Horatio. Lovely as always. We have a guest.
We have a guest.
Yes.
That is, I love that we have not stopped having guests as a result of our previous guests.
Somehow we've managed to keep having people come to the booth to talk to us and tell us all about themselves and their planet. Please, introduce yourself to the universe.
Hello, universe. My name is Suhlayuh Merikantha, and I'm real happy to be here.
We are happy to have you.
Merikantha. What a lovely... The whole name is lovely, but Merikantha.
Yes, I think it's really fun to say, Suhlayuh Merikantha.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You certainly did.
I like when I do that. It makes it much easier because then I don't have to keep learning how to pronounce it. I've got it right the first time.
And normally he's usually eating, and that usually interferes with proper pronunciation for Horatio.
I can eat while I say your name if you'd like.
You caught him mid-chew, so
yes.
Good timing. You have excellent timing, Suhlayuh. Where are you from?
Yes.
I am from the planet Plarb.
What another beautiful name for a planet. Plarb.
It is. It's really, really a beautiful planet.
It sounds beautiful. With a name like Plarb, it has to be beautiful.
It's short, easy to pronounce, and is it easy to get to?
You know, it's really incredibly easy to get to, and in fact, we have quite a lot of travelers who visit Plarb on a regular basis.
Oh, already a popular destination.
You welcome them there.
Oh, absolutely. You know, people love to gather there because it's in the cul-de-sac of the universe.
Oh.
So it's a great place to play.
When I think cul-de-sac, I think, there's normally some other things around. Are there other planets in the cul-de-sac with you forming a little planetary community?
Yes, that's exactly right. There are 5 other planets in our little cul-de-sac of the universe.
So 6 planets total in the cul-de-sac.
Yes,
Good,
6
good.
planets total in our little cul-de-sac, our little corner of the universe.
Now, what are some of the things with all these people visiting? What is everybody coming to your planet looking for? Are there attractions? Why is everyone stopping by?
Yes.
Well, it's just a really friendly planet. We love to chat and get to know our neighbors, and there's lots to do. The atmosphere here is just beautiful. We have a lot of growth. There's a lot of things that grow.
Ooh.
We like to refrain from naming them so that we can see them fresh every time.
Oh.
So there's all this growth, and we have lots of music.
Oh.
So we have these intergalactic jam sessions.
Those can go on for quite a long time from what I've heard.
Seems like a cul-de-sac, planetary cul-de-sac. There would be lots of interact. Do you ever have cookouts and things in the planetary cul-de-sac? Music festivals, you said?
Yeah, I mean, you could call them festivals. They're really impromptu, sort of whoever is around from whatever location and whatever kind of sound they make that we call music. We just all gather and kind of get in a groove together.
That sounds lovely. I especially like the unplanned
aspect. Are certain planets responsible for bringing certain dishes to these gatherings?
You know, one of the beautiful things about the planet Plarb is there are no expectations. So you
Oh, I
just
like that.
arrive, come as you are, bring what you bring, don't bring anything. Everything is provided.
What's some of the most popular dishes?
To be perfectly honest, it's very much a melting pot, I guess you'd call it. So we get so many things, and I don't know, honestly, if I've ever eaten the same thing twice.
Oh,
Because
my.
somebody will come from one planet with a dish that was inspired by another planet, and they've given it their own spin. And then when they bring it to Plarb, the atmosphere is very different here, so flavors meld and taste differently. I do remember I had one dish that tasted like if you could taste the smell of air.
Ooh. Like just clean, fresh.
Yes, it exactly tasted like clean, fresh air that was like scented with herbs.
Oh, my. I've only found that when I've been chewing on a laundry dryer filter.
Yes, in fact, it is very much like chewing on a laundry dryer filter. I've never heard it put that way, but that's exactly the flavor.
Well, I have been telling Horatio he needs more fiber in his diet. My thought was,
I'm sorry, there's sound going in and out. This cafe is so busy.
there's so much going on here at the restaurant that happens so often.
We should request a code of silence to be
Yes.
honestly. We'll work on that.
Or perhaps an elaborate curtain that we could draw around the booth. That would really make things, I think, a little bit more intimate to keep the riffraff out, perhaps.
No, then we wouldn't be able to sit in our own booth. Oh!
But looking at Horatio and myself, what dish do you think would we really enjoy the most?
You've got to try the gel fries.
Ooh, gel fries.
They're made of some sort of tuber, and they've been marinated in something that's like, it's got sweet and spicy and umami flavors.
Mm.
And then they singe it very quickly over an open flame, and then it gets so it's like crispy on the outside with a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet, and you eat it and it's just one of the most satisfying things.
I would like you to describe that to the waiter when he comes by, because
Yes.
Millyways does have an extensive kitchen.
Oh.
And if they could produce that sounds like it would just be lovely.
Yes, I like to have gela fries a lot.
Now, is it permissible to dip them in some kind of sauce? Because, as Trellis will tell you, and also you see all the sauces here on the table, that it's not even as much food for them, but there's more sauce than food.
Horatio could be considered a sauce aficionado.
I am a sauce freak.
A saucianado.
I'm saucy.
You are very saucy, and I really love this giant lazy Susan full of sauces. It's very exciting.
Are sauces permitted?
Oh, absolutely. Not just permitted, encouraged.
Oh, thank God. Thank the makers. I was a little nervous that I was not going to be able to use sauces with them.
Are there any of the music you mentioned? Would we have heard of any of these groups that play from the band?
I don't know. I think that some of them certainly have gone on to form bands after they've left this cul-de-sac. But generally speaking, everything is a jam session, just based on whomever is there. You might liken it to being in the hull of a ship singing sea shanties.
Ooh. We've both done that, together and separately.
Because, hitchhiking around the galaxy can be very taxing, which is why we have decided to not do that anymore and just come here to interview wonderful people such as yourself.
And not have to make much of an effort to do it.
Exactly. And I'm thinking synergistically here, perhaps we could collaborate on maybe doing some recordings of some of these jam sessions to get them out to the universe. Like, why keep it locked up tight in the cul-de-sac?
Also, it could be very profitable.
Yes, it could be. Oh, finances are fine to talk about. I think it's wonderful when everyone can profit culturally, emotionally, and financially. Why not?
I agree with you totally now. You have convinced me. You have convinced me. I will benefit culturally and financially, and let's hope others do as well.
Let's hope.
Or perhaps we could broadcast it live over the sub-ether. I'm putting on my promoter hat. I'm putting on my promotional hat because I think the cul-de-sac 6, maybe that's a good, we could title it.
Maybe it's stealing from another planet. There's another planet that has a similar thing. They're called the Hootenanny planet. That perhaps we could call it a Hootenanny.
Oh, I think you could call it the cul-de-sac 6 performs the Hootenanny.
Oh, we have it. I'll write that down here on my napkin.
Yeah, I think that recording it live would probably be the very best thing, and broadcasting it out to all the sound waves out in the universe.
I believe this may well be our most important broadcast.
There's something actually we're doing.
Yes.
Rather than just eating, we're actually producing something. I feel lightheaded.
And we're not harming anyone.
That's really the best you can hope for on some planets.
Yes, really it is. It's just do no harm, which means sometimes just don't do anything. Especially planets where lots of beings are all very large and clumsy and fall on top of each other. That's a whole other episode.
And financially speaking, this could help me because of that. I still haven't heard back from the Scofflaw or his people, for that land deal that I gave him all those credocs for, and still waiting to hear what the latest update is on whether or not I even actually own anything.
I told Trellis it's best not to do business with someone who does not have a stable name. If someone comes to you and says, I have a series of aliases, this is my current name, I think that might be the first indication that you may not be able to find them later.
Oh yeah, I'd be very curious and I guess a little suspect of somebody who had multiple names.
Yes, well, we did not think of that at the time. We were quite drunk.
And that's why I just have, the two, Trellis, Gardeen, Horatio, Zinn, simple,
yes,
straightforward,
yes,
honest.
Yeah.
Honest and clean.
Straightforward, if nothing else.
Yes.
Relatively honest. Let's not oversell us.
Well, yeah, that relative to other planets, we may not be considered honest. I don't know. Do you have problems on your planet, on Plarb, as far as crime or people deceiving each other to forward their own interests?
I feel pretty lucky that our planet is pretty free from that. And even within the cul-de-sac, it's just this friendly cul-de-sac where people are kind and thoughtful and giving. I mean, it really is a peach of a place.
That sounds lovely. Now, do you ever say watch other people's planets while they're on vacation? Things like that.
Absolutely. Oh, I love to planet sit.
Oh.
And what's really wonderful about our planet, and this might be part of why it's so popular and why Plarbians are so popular among the universe, is that we travel astrally. We're a planet of astral projectors.
So, are you actually here right now?
That's what I was going to ask.
Are you actually? Is this, or was it a projection?
This is a projection.
Oh, you look so real.
I'm actually sitting beside a river, and I have no shoes on, and I'm dipping my feet in the river, and the fish are just kind of tickling my toes.
That sounds lovely.
It is. It's really lovely.
Do you have any plans to eat the fish?
Oh, I don't think so. I see this beautiful display of food and all these sauces and dips that, why would I eat the fish when I could dip a gel fry?
So now the fish, are they gaining any sustenance from nibbling on you? If you sat there for a long time, say if you dozed off, would you find that your feet pleated by fish?
Do you think you would make a good source of food? Is basically what I think Horatio's trying to say.
Yes, that was my question.
I'm sure that I would make a good source of food for somebody, but these little fish don't eat people like myself.
Very good, very good. I assume that was something you knew before you dipped your feet in there.
Yes, I'm very careful. I know my planet quite well, so I know what's safe, and pretty much the entire planet is like child-proofed in a way.
Oh,
my.
It's a very safe and wonderful planet.
No sharp corners. It's all rounded edges.
All the drawers are locked.
All the drawers are locked. Everything is soft and fuzzy and bouncy.
There are times I just want to fall down. And oftentimes I hit a hard surface. And I don't find that pleasant.
You know, you would really love Plarb because all of our walkways are trampolines.
Oh my. Oh, yes. I would be shaking like jelly all over your planet.
It's pretty great. You could just bounce from one place to the next.
Yeah, Horatio, you actually sort of look like a walking trampoline because you do bounce quite a bit
I do.
when you're walking. I mean,
Yes.
I hadn't occurred to me, but now that Suhlayuh is bringing it up.
You don't see me walk very often. Not because of how comfortable the booth is. You can tell I've got a bit of a groove here in the booth.
I like the fact that you said that everything is like soft and fuzzy and comfortable. So pretty much anything could be considered a couch or a bed almost, it sounds like, which is my kind of place.
Yes, it's essentially a giant soft playground.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Well, I was just going to describe some of our buildings to you. So the building that I inhabit and the room where I sleep has a really wonderful big window and a sliding board that goes right down into a pool of water.
Ooh. Oh, is this so every morning?
Yes.
You get up and you go, oh.
Every morning, I get out of bed and I get on the slide and jump into the pool.
Do you actually have to walk back up to the top of the slide? Because that might make me not want to go down the slide. I think I want to be transported up and down.
Well, like I said, we have trampolines for walkways.
The boing.
You just bounce back up to your room, slide down into the pool, bounce back up into your room, slide down into the pool.
I could make a day of that for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if I would bounce back. I might just stay in the pool.
And, you know, if at some point you get hungry and you want to go to where the food is, which is generally on the ground floor,
Oh.
you just take the fire pole.
Oh, a fireball! Lovely. I enjoy means of transportation, conveyance like that rely a bit on gravity for how they work, because that works in my favor.
Gravity and Horatio are very well acquainted.
Yes.
But is the fire pole on the outside of the building? Because as I recall, fire poles usually go through a hole in the floor, and I would worry about Horatio getting stuck.
I worry about that too.
He would need an extra comfort fit hole is what I'm thinking.
Well, certainly if he purchased an abode, he could have it designed to his specifications.
Oh, I like this. I like this. More and more. I wonder, why are we still here, Trellis? Why are we not?
Because we can't astral project ourselves, that's why.
Ah, that's true.
We're lacking in a necessary skill that Suhlayuh is very good at, and I'm jealous. I'm going to say right now, I'm a little jealous that you can just project yourself everywhere without having to go through the effort to actually try. Well, is it? I should actually ask that question first. How difficult is it for you to project yourself around the universe?
Oh, it's very simple. All you have to do is think of where you want to be and you begin to project. You just imagine yourself into another location.
Horatio, I want to see you try to project yourself. Where should Horatio project himself?
I am going to start by trying to project myself like at least a few inches to the left. All right? No, sorry. Visualizing the bit to the left. Did I move?
I don't think so.
It's hard to tell because I take up enough space as it is that it's hard to tell. I could have moved a few inches and just not looked like it.
That's true.
So I like your support. You're very positive about that support.
Well, I really think anyone can do it. It just takes a little practice. And of course, I was raised learning how to astrally project, so it comes pretty naturally to me.
That was my next question. Is this something that Plarbians are taught from day one?
Yes.
Right out of the womb?
Yeah, it's, we're kind of, I guess the way you'd say it is, you just naturally learn to do it the way a fish just naturally swims underwater because that's where they live. So that's
Out of necessity, it happened.
yeah. We just know to do it. But I have to admit that I maybe have a leg up on many other Plarbians because my mother was a traveler and may have actually been astrally projecting from another solar system when she gave birth to me on Plarbia.
Oh.
Oh my! So she wouldn't have to actually be present physically in order to physically present you to the world there.
That's right. There are lots of astrally projected births that happen all over the place.
It's very fascinating.
So you're saying right now, but a child could just appear astrally birthed on our table right now.
They could, except that I don't think anybody knows that I'm here. I mean, I guess anything's possible. So yes.
Just a miscalculation, perhaps, of where they has that ever happened where you accidentally astral projected yourself somewhere where you weren't expected, like you ended up in the men's room someplace or somewhere awkward that you weren't expecting?
Yes. Something that happens is a lot of Plarbians like to play practical jokes on each other.
Oh my!
Because we also, with people we're close with, we can astrally project them to a location of our choosing.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yes.
So I've been astrally projected into some pretty goofy situations.
I would like to hear about those.
That sounds like the equivalent of an astral pants pulling down.
Well, I was once astrally projected into a wedding ceremony in front of the female who was getting married, so that the male suddenly got very confused because he didn't know about astral projection. He just thought that he was having some sort of a stroke.
That's not the feeling you want to have at a wedding.
No.
Weddings are stressful enough as it is.
Trellis and I can attest to that because of how many we've been involved in personally.
I mean, from some of mine, I wish I'd been able to astral project myself out of the ceremony had I known what was going to happen in the actual marriage.
Yes.
And sadly, what happened is now all of the people who attended that wedding think that the bride is possessed.
Oh, well, that is not unusual at a wedding, however. I've found that at least some member of the bridal party they will think is possessed. Oftentimes, they're just still drunk from the bachelor or bachelorette parties, but there's a whole other.
If your friend would have been nice, you'd think they would have projected you into the reception.
Yeah.
Where you could have at least had fun, maybe steal the first dance.
Yeah.
Smash some cake in their face and then get out of there.
So you can project yourself into someone else's body like that. That's fascinating.
Oh no, just right in front of them, not into their actual body, just right in front of them, right beside them, right near them. When you're projected and then sucked back in, it can be very disorienting.
I'm sure.
The Plarbians are definitely jokesters, and they definitely like to put you in strange situations. And my mother used to use it as a punishment on occasion.
Oh my.
Oh, what did you do that caused her to do that? And what did she do to you?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't do anything really bad.
I'm sure you were a wonderful child, and she was being a bit over disciplinarian.
She was just trying to teach me a lesson on how the universe works, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She would, if I didn't give her the answer she liked, like if I left my abode messy, she would astrally project me into the home of a hoarder.
Oh.
And just to make me see how bad it could get.
This is what's waiting for you, Suhlayuh, if you don't clean your room.
That's exactly right.
That's tough astral projection love, in my opinion.
Would she leave you in those situations for a long time, or just briefly, just a glimpse to go, oh? Or is it, oh, I'm here, I may never leave?
She would just leave me there as long as needed. Because the wonderful thing about astral projection, if you're projecting somebody else into another location, you are essentially with them.
Ooh.
It's kind of hard to explain. So the physical body, my physical body remains on Plarb, and my astral body gets projected elsewhere. My mother's physical body remains on Plarb, but only her mental capacity, her presence is what gets projected with me. So she can observe and make sure that I'm still safe, or poke me a little to make it even a little bit worse.
Now, I've kind of drawn a diagram here in kind of it's on my napkin to kind of get ready. Is this correct? Do I have this worked out, or do I have the?
Yes, that's exactly it. So,
Good.
so what you've done is you've taken sort of the brain and
Yes.
put the brain with my ghosty body.
Yes.
That is very much what it like. The brain with eyes.
Very good, very good. I didn't want to offend with my drawing because I did work as a caricaturist in a theme park planet.
Well, I really like that you added the hockey stick.
Thank you. I always try to add a hockey stick or perhaps a surfboard.
Horatio, I think if you can figure out this astral projection thing, you might project yourself out to the cul-de-sac at the next gathering.
I should.
Do caricatures of Suhlayuh and the other people. Just good old-fashioned fun, making people's eyes look big or their teeth.
Would that be welcome? Would that be welcome on your world?
Absolutely, 100%. We welcome anybody with their creativity to come in and join in whatever way they feel comfortable joining.
And then Trellis could perhaps do his party trick of coming up with poems on the spur of the moment based on people's inadequacies and celebrate then.
Yeah, you may have heard of my more minorly famous poem, Cumin, How You Doin'?
It's one of his longest poems.
I keep them short and to the point, because poetry can be boring. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Some poets just drone on for verse after verse after verse, and I don't want to bore anybody. I just like to keep it short and simple.
Actually, the titles are much longer than the actual poems. That one is called A Celebration of Cumin in one line, perhaps. And then it goes into a bit of speculation about how many words, because he wrote the title before he wrote the poem itself. So speculation of how many words. You can find it. I'm sure you can find it in a used bookstore somewhere.
I'll just throw one out right now. Astral projection gives me connection.
There you go.
There you go. Right there.
Well, it sounds like you speak truth.
It does sound that way, doesn't it?
Am I confused? Have I been tricked? Is that not the truth?
Since you said the practical jokes with the astral projection are so popular on airplane, was there a record of some of these practical jokes? Like, what was the greatest astral projection practical joke in the history of Plarb?
Well, boy, there's so many great ones. I mean, I guess I could pick out one of the many great ones. One of the ones I really enjoyed is we astrally projected a dog to chase a squirrel through a photo shoot.
Ooh.
It was a good friend of mine sent that dog and squirrel in.
How silly. How silly.
Oh my goodness. They overturned giant cakes.
I love to see a
Always
giant
good
cake
fun.
overturned. As long as, of course, it's still edible.
Exactly. I was just going to say, can we still eat it?
Yes.
That is important.
The practical jokes with food, I go back and forth. They're a bit of a mixed bag for me. If the food is still edible at the end of the practical joke, it's a practical joke. If not, it's just cruelty.
Agreed. Yeah. One practical joke that we don't play on Plarb because we find it to be just unnecessarily cruel is you never wake somebody up who's sleeping in any kind of alarming way.
Very practical.
Yes.
I'll put it this way. I am not very, as you can tell, I'm not a big, strong, physical.
No one will mistake strong and physical if they're looking at you.
Because I didn't know sometimes appearances can be deceiving. But when you wake me up suddenly, I am just, any combat skills I might have had come out just punching. I am Horatio, but Trellis, see the little bruise on his cheek. He nudged me.
He was clutching a Tiberian shrimp in his hand, and when he woke up, it flung and it hit me in the face, and the shell had not been taken off of it, so it left a little mark.
Yes.
Have you ever dipped Tiberian shrimp in a Swizzle sauce?
No, I don't believe. How did I miss that?
Oh, you've got to try it. You've got to try that.
I will call the waiter over immediately.
Add that to the Lazy Susan, Horatio.
There is an empty slot on the Lazy Susan, and it will now be. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Even along with all the other wonderful things you've told us, that has made this visit just more than worthwhile. This. Yeah.
You've added.
Yes.
You've added to the table.
I'm very pleased if I can add a sauce to the table of life.
Oh, beautiful. Even more beautiful, you added a sauce.
I feel like we're at the cul-de-sac 6 right now, because
Yes.
if you think about it, our booth is essentially a cul-de-sac.
Yes.
And we are 3 planets, in a sense, enjoying company, and now with a new sauce.
What could be better?
Nothing. I before we finish, I do have a theory about. I don't know where the whole astral projection the thing. I think it began as an excuse to never have to leave your wonderful, wonderful place to live.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right about that.
It was this willpower that I don't want to leave here. I don't want to leave here.
So many of us feel like there's so much great stuff going on that sometimes we wish we could be 2 places at once.
Yes.
And somehow, at the birth of this planet, I guess somebody figured out how to do that.
I'm going to speak for Trellis here, because if he disagrees with me on this, I will smack him.
Oh.
But I believe that
With more shrimp, I assume.
you have to come back and we have to talk more about this, because now I just have all kinds of questions.
Project yourself back.
Yes, or perhaps we'll be on location from the cul-de-sac.
I think if I tried to project myself, would be one of those. I maybe get halfway there, and then my projection would just be lost, floating around somewhere in the middle of space, wandering forever.
It happens.
Haunting passing ships.
I think you were going to be coming up with today's entry. Is that what you're about to throw out there, Horatio?
I was about to throw that out there. I'm trying to find, because there was so much. This is not exactly about the, but I do like the phrase crispy on the outside, softer and spicier on the inside.
For Plarb?
For Plarb, please feel free to negate that, but
You know what? I like my poem, to be honest.
well, give us the poem one more time.
Whether or not that gets me hit with shrimp, I don't care. But I think Plarb, astral projection, gives us the connection.
Although I think whether I get hit with shrimp or not, I don't care, is also a good entry.
As one for its own, I think.
Yes.
I think that stands on its own, regardless.
We'll save that as an entry for sometimes we can't think of one, even if it doesn't relate.
Certainly has a practical joker aspect about it, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does. Psych. This has been lovely. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
even
you.
if it's virtually.
Oh, it's been an absolute treat, Horatio and Trellis, to sit here in this booth with all these wonderful sauces and all this great conversation. You can be sure I'm going to bring that back to the cul-de-sac.
Oh,
I wish we could send you back with a gift bag of sauces, but it probably would spill. I don't know how that works.
Oh, well, thank you. I can guarantee that at our next cul-de-sac jam, we're going to bring out all those sauces, and everybody's going to be dipping their jelly fries in there.
Oh,
excellent.
This is wonderful, wonderful. I'd want to find these gel fries. I may go now and go find some gel fries.
thank you for joining us for Hitchhikers and Appetizers. And of course, special thanks goes to our guest, Suhlayuh Merikantha. I have been Trellis Gardeen.
And I continue to be Horatio Zinn. Until next time, keep your towels clean. And if your starship has been attacked by space hippies, you can always just chill out and find your space bliss. So don't panic. Everything you heard in this episode was improvised, but not everything improvised was heard. This episode of Hitchhikers and Appetizers featured the voice talents of Mike Gorgone as Trellis Gardeen, Bran Peacock as Horatio Zinn, and Rebecca Sohn as Suhlayuh Merikantha. Finally, Hitchhikers and Appetizers is part of the Improv in Action Network. Check out other great improvised podcasts and projects at improvinaction.com. If you'd like to reach out to Trellis or Horatio, you can send electronic messages to them at our Galaxy address, hitchappspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can find them on Twitter with the handle hitchapps.
Shut up and sit down.